material that you want to pass out to the body up here on the front desk. Just what you want. Additional reading material, Councilman. Okay. And if some of you need to take a break, please. I don't know, maybe I'll sing and dance while you're away. But as Melissa passes out the material, it's past time for the public to have an opportunity to comment here this afternoon. And again, I want to thank you for your patience. It was very important that we walk through the details, walk through the work that has been accomplished and undertaken, walk through the complexities, and have these folks ask questions and have some answers presented. This has been a long road. It's been a complex road. And there have been a lot of opportunities for all of us to participate, and this is yet another one. So from the public comment standpoint, we want to give everyone an opportunity to speak and ask questions if you would like, but I would ask that we abide by the following general guidelines. First of all would be my mama's rule, and probably all of our mama's rules, in terms of being respectful and being courteous. And I would ask that you be respectful and you be courteous if you choose to make remarks in the next few moments. I would also suggest to you that this is not a debate or an interrogation of anyone. Ground rule number 3, 3 minutes of time for you to present your viewpoints. Frances Hibbs over there will be the official timekeeper. And she has some sort of mechanism. I don't know, you get electrocuted, something happens at that 3-minute mark. So you will be made aware when your time is up. And if you don't wrap it up pretty quickly, I'm going to ask you to do that. I'm not meaning to be the bad guy by any means, but we certainly need to move along so that everyone can have the opportunity. You can ask your questions during your time at the mic, but don't expect to have much time to ask more than 1, maybe 2 questions if it's more than a comment that you want to make. We have, I believe, 2 mics. 1 mic, okay. Is it the podium? It's a stick mic here? It's this one right here. Okay. We would ask that you queue up, if you don't mind, behind the mic and ask your question or make your comment. And it looks like, well, okay. Mr. Breeden, yes. Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to operate this similar to what the Texas legislature does, folks. And that is those folks on the dais, if they need to get up and take care of business, if you know what I mean, we're going to give them the opportunity to do that. But in the interest of time and not causing everyone to continue to just wait, let's go ahead and begin that comment-taking process. This is clearly being recorded for the record. So, first up, please identify yourself and then make your comments.
Okay. Can you hear me okay through the mic?
Yes.
My name is Jacob Breeden. I own Process Art House in downtown Amarillo. This year we were actually proud to receive from the AEDC a $100,000 enterprise challenge for our business to expand beyond Potter and Randall. We're trying to keep as much as we can inside of town, and particularly inside of downtown. I also was very happy to receive a Top 20 Under 40 Business Award this year, so we're very serious about our business and our business in downtown Amarillo. I don't necessarily have questions as much as a concern that this debate stay on topic of the growth of the city of Amarillo. We live in a very active social media environment these days. Seems like chest thumping and browbeating and conspiracy theories tend to lead the fray and push us away from having good, conscientious debate about what we're doing for the future of our city. I'm in that in between. I'm not a millennial, nor am I a boomer, so I don't statistically count. But I do, however, have millennial children as well as baby boomer parents and a vested interest in the growth of my city. I've been back for a decade. I'm back here on purpose. We're in downtown on purpose because we believe the urban environment is best suited for the nature of our business. So what I would ask of everyone involved in this debate, citizens, business owners, council people alike, is to focus on the issues at hand, the development of our downtown, as it needs to move forward, because the worst thing that can happen for any of us at this point is for us to come to a dead stall because we can't have a civilized conversation as grown-ups in a room and as professionals in a room. So that's actually my 2 cents. I'm very pleased with what I saw today. This was much more civil than I honestly expected, especially following on Facebook. But congratulations on a good event. Congratulations on being open-minded about the conversation, and I hope you all continue to move forward with this process. Anything that we as small business owners in downtown can do to help, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you for your time.
Jacob, thank you. My good friend Robert Goodrich, and I've been to enough church meetings with Robert to know that we need to watch this 3-minute thing, Francis.
I'll be real sensitive to that, Gary. Robert Goodrich, 4111 Stony Point, Amarillo. Proud to call it my home. I happen to be the owner of a downtown property that I've been trying really hard to make into a wonderful contribution to our downtown revitalization program. But I've not had much help from existing prior city government, so I'm hoping with some changes in the makeup of this body, things might be a little bit more inviting for me. Also, for people who are appointed to serve on bodies, I think you should subject them to a physical exam. It's evident to me that some of the people who are spoken today might be a little bit blind. They can't see the Herring Hotel, which is a great big elephant in the room downtown, and it's not taken into account whenever we do these inventories about all the wonderful opportunities that we have in our city. I think somebody needs to look a little closer at our wonderful building inventory, because the Herring is there. I've owned that building 26 years. I'm wanting to make it into a beautiful contribution to our city. I don't need a lot of help, but I need a little, and a little encouragement would really be helpful. The other thing I'd like to say is we've been presented a plan. It's not the only plan that exists. I'm sorry. There's an opportunity to take into account some other plans along with the consideration you're giving to the current plan. I like planning. I like the vision that comes with planning, and you see wonderful possibilities. I submit you have an opportunity to take into account some other plans that are really very promising. Just as an example, Queens Crossing is an idea that has been put forward, and it's simply wonderful. If you're not aware of it, it's unfortunate, but you need to get informed about it. That's just one plan. And there may be others that are equally wonderful, too, that need to be taken into account. So I invite you to give consideration to them. I discourage you from being rushed to judgment. Take your time. I think you've asked some wonderful questions today, and there are some other wonderful questions that need to be asked. The people in this room have been sitting here for a little over 8 hours. I can't formulate instantly all the questions I want to ask. Those of you who've made presentations, you had weeks to prepare your presentation material. Citizens out here in the audience have not had a chance to know what was going to be coming forward, so it wasn't possible to formulate all the questions we might want to ask. I'd like to have an opportunity to come back to a body like this, but with citizens on the podium rather than you all, and let us ask the questions and get the answers that we want. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert. William?
William Ware, Executive Vice President with Amarillo National Bank. Mayor, City Council members, and members of the LGC, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for this information session. This is so exciting for our city. We are finally talking about really great changes. These are awesome questions. We're looking at both sides of this issue, and it makes me proud to be part of Amarillo because of that. You know, really appreciate your time. Appreciate the research you put into this project, and you all make good points. And we want to continue that theme that we're not doing this for the wrong reasons. We're doing this for the right reasons. I love that about this. We are for this project, and at Amarillo National Bank, we've always paid our taxes, never asked for public money. We're the largest property owner in downtown, so this would actually increase our taxes had there be some development. We're fine with that. We've actually To Amarillo, we've given over $20 million in the last 30 years in donations in an effort to better our city. We believe a rising tide raises all boats. We want to make it attractive for families, employees, employers, and visitors. We talk to our large customers all over town and our large employers. We ask them what do they need to improve their business, to really ensure long-term success, and, of course, to attract the next generation of workers. They all talk about this urban living concept and how a lot of these people spend a lot of their time in their cars going to work, and the last thing they want is to drive the rest of the night. We need more restaurants, more entertainment, better leisure activities, and, of course, parks, schools, and other venues for families. You know, one of our biggest economic drivers in this town is tourism, and we feel like this supports tourism. We really do think projects like this will increase that for everybody, for hotels, restaurants, and other entities that benefit from tourism. This is like an aging building. It needs to be updated. We're glad we're finally looking at it. Remember, this endeavor started by local business owners, entrepreneurs, employers, people that cared about the future of this city. They all want to see what's good for our city. We want to remember this isn't really for us as well. This is for our children. I want to quote the great Sam Lovelady that we need to leave this city better than we found it. We were all handed such a wonderful city with incredible people, and let's leave it better than we found it with projects like this. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, everybody. I am Becky. I'm the Director of Sales for Staybridge Suites, and I'm proud to be here among all of y'all. Thank you for this opportunity to let us know what goes on inside the city and the decisions that you all make. I feel proud to be a part of it now. And I am here to present few points and few questions that I have. Of course, I'm not in downtown. I don't work in downtown, so as a person working outside downtown, I feel really nervous that what is going to be the effect of the business that's going to be only attracted to downtown? What are we going to do outside in the city? People are also crazy for I-40. What are we doing to verify that? So all such questions, I'm glad that we are thinking about downtown hotel project, but we as taxpayers of Amarillo, one of my hotel owner, he is having 6 properties, 3 in pipeline. We are also having 20,000 square feet of convention space. Of course, I know that Civic Center is doing great. We had 70 conventions a year. I know Abilene had 300, and that's good to know, but what's going to be the effect or the result when all the conventions are going to be held in the new project? Other than that, how much are we focusing, or how much are you focusing on the city beautification? And other than that, I'm really worried about the effect that we are going to be having on our business. We as Director of Sales, I'm not even on that level that I can talk on that. But yes, I am worried because we are not even, the 82% occupancy that one of our speakers just told today is not year-round, sir. 82% occupancy, if we were having that much, then the Amarillo City would have been doing great. But we pay hot tax that you all have been using in the project, and I can proudly say we all hotel owners have been contributing to that since years and years and years. So I would really ask a quick question. This project, Downtown Hotel Convention Project, what is going to be the effect on the Amarillo City outside downtown? Hotels through I-40 next to it. And that is my personal request. Of course, I agree with the person that said there is no rush, of course. You all had great questions, and we have the same questions too. Maybe we'll have a few questions more. I hope that we have one more session like this where we can jot down all our questions and come up with it. So yes, I'm very glad that I was able to ask these questions. I really hope that I can get answers one day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Dan, if we could very quickly kind of get at the core of what I think the question is, and I think that probably revolves around your discussion about the market segment that will be served by the Convention Center Hotel versus the rest of the city in terms of the hospitality industry, and what we're talking about, growing the pie here.
Exactly. That's the whole concept behind this. If we were going to build a new hotel to take away business from other properties, that would not be something that we want to be involved in. It's not something that the city council or any citizen of this community would want to be involved in. It is about growing the pie. Again, remember, this is a totally new market. It's a totally different thing. No one in town can handle the size conventions that we're talking about in any facility. To do it, even in the facilities you talked about, we'd have to be, again, moving between facilities and splitting 20,000 square feet in a few different spots. That also doesn't change the traffic on I-40, which is driving most of the occupancy we've got right now in all those different hotels. It's a tourism market. It's not a convention market right now. That's a small part of what we do now. This will help everyone by maintaining the markets that you currently have and just adding another market to Amarillo.
Okay.
Well, I have a question on that. I am so sorry.
That's
But yes, we not being in downtown, we are paying all our taxes, occupancy taxes, of course, city taxes. The hotels in downtown are not going to be paying that, of course, because they're going to be getting the rebate back. Of course, he mentioned, not Dan, but Mr. Patel mentioned that he's going to be using that for marketing Civic Center or other nice places, I'm sure. So we are also investing a lot of dollars, millions of dollars in getting the city revenue higher. So I know his investment, Mr. Patel's investment in the project is considered very honorable. What about the investment of all the other motel owners that has been there since past years?
I want to make sure we separate those two issues.
Order. Mr. Kwan has already spoken.
Okay. And I will only if
we
requested
promise
by the moderator.
to have questions asked and questions answered, and I intend for that to happen. Again, I would remind folks in terms of one of Mother's rules, and that's to be courteous and respectful. And Mr. Kwan, could you address the question that's been
The
asked?
short version of this is we, more than anyone, since this is our business, we appreciate the investment that all the hotels and any future hotel investors have in our community, and we already see the love of that by the new projects that are being done right now with 5 other projects that have nothing to do with downtown. The bottom line is that the tax is not being paid by the hotels. It is collected by the hotels. It's paid by the visitors. And that's the bottom line.
Okay, thank you.
With all due respect, I see your position. And you're paying the lion's share of the hot tax, and we have to have your money before we can make any of this happen.
Exactly, so that's my
I
point
want
too.
you to know I see your concerns.
Thank you, sir. I'm so glad you all understand that. And of course, we and all the hotels who are not in downtown, we assure you all that we are going to be continuing to increase the city's revenue day by day, minute by minute. So we are here for you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next.
My name's Dusty Barrett. I'm a third-generation family business construction company here in town. I've been actively involved in this downtown process for about the last 5 years. I'm currently on the Center City Board. I've served with DAI. I've spent a lot of time in meetings with most of you on this stage. First, I want to thank every one of you for the time you've committed to this project. It started in 2006, but it started way before that. It started in 1960s when Amarillo realized we needed this. We're at a point now where the 3 new council members can participate. Just because you're new to the game doesn't preclude you from being involved in this process. You've got questions, and I completely understand that. But this is a very well-developed program. There's a plan in place, and it will be successful. And it will grow the entire city of Amarillo, not just downtown. If you grow a city with a donut hole in the middle, it's not going to happen. I mean, we've got to grow from the inside out. We need this project. The decision isn't for me. This decision is for my children and my future grandchildren. And I'd like for them to be around, just like John said. So we need the project. We need the whole project. We need the hotel. We need the parking garage. We need the MPEV. And we need all of the other things that are going to come with that. Thank you.
Well, my name is Pat Ware, and I'm with Amarillo National Bank, and apologies to Dusty. I'm 5th generation representation for our city. And I know y'all just saw my brother speak. He is definitely Tweedledee, and I'm definitely Tweedledum compared to him. I just want to talk about our bank and our focus on downtown. Our bank's been downtown in Amarillo since 1892. In 1971, my grandfather started the construction of Plaza 1, the building we're in right now. 12 years later, Richard and Bill Ware built Plaza 2. Right now, Amarillo National Bank owns 7 properties downtown, and I was so glad to hear we have a new commissioner who's big on landscaping, because so are we. We have over 379 trees downtown, and we're very proud of that. Every year we pay over $1 million in property taxes on our Amarillo properties alone. We have over 631 employees. 450 of those employees work downtown. Of those 631 employees, we serve on over 118 local nonprofit boards and church boards. And last year alone, we dedicated, donated, volunteered over 12,000 hours of our time to promote Amarillo and make it a better place. We spend around $11 million a year on local vendors, contractors, suppliers, and service providers, hoping to boost Amarillo's economy. We try to choose local in every decision we make. We believe in Amarillo. We believe we're good citizens, and we're going to be here for the long term. We've already set up the bank to where it can be passed on to my kids' generation. So we're committed to downtown, and we're just so glad and thankful of the commissioners, now past and present, who have worked so hard on downtown, and to the new commissioners, they've just teed it up perfectly for y'all. So we are for all three of these proposed projects, and we're really excited about the future of downtown. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hey, my name's Colin Cummings. I'm from Amarillo. Just tell you a little bit about myself. I work for Zachary. I work at the Zachary Engineering Office. Grew up here. I'm also a director for the Yellow City Co-op Brew Pub, which is a cooperative association that's going to open a brew pub in downtown Amarillo. So we have a vested interest in seeing downtown Amarillo succeed. And just as I'm going to be a little bit selfish here, I'm not as concerned about my kids. I want to enjoy living here. So I would really like to have a vibrant city center because I've seen, I've seen what it can do for citizenry, and I've seen what it can do for a city. In fact, I was in the military for 4 years, so I've lived in a lot of different cities, and we are woefully behind the curve. I used to like to say that Amarillo was 10 years behind, and then I moved back here in 2008, and I've updated that to we're 15 years behind. So to take a step back at this point in the planning process, because I'm sure you can all appreciate that it's not easy to plan and execute something like this. To take a step back at this point is not just one step back; it's multiple steps back. It's putting us. I'll have to add a couple years to my classic slogan about Amarillo. So I would encourage the council to take up the plan as it is, and I would just like to make one comment with all due respect. I have not been following this project for as long as it's been out there. Like I said, I've been back since 2008. But in the matter of weeks, probably not months, but weeks, I did enough research to understand this entire project. So I would hope that our council is capable of that level of research as well. Thank you.
My name is Felipe Chavez Lopez. I was born here in Amarillo. Our house there in Cleveland was one of the first houses built in the barrio. And unlike this gentleman over here, I am an old man. I'm not the oldest, though, but I'm an old man. And, this ballpark, the first phase, I don't know if I couldn't come up with something better than ball games because they never have been that big. Boxing, wrestling. If y'all remember Duke Nelly when he brought in ABC Boxing Club, little towns would come in here just to watch the Golden Gloves. I call them they call it entertainment, the fakes wrestling. They used to pack that Civic Center, that wrestling place down there at the fairground. And I would like it to be called Amarillo multi-purpose activity center and football, not just football, because a lot of people, baseball is not that big a deal. I went to most of my children are in Corpus, Houston, California. I've got a couple of grandkids here and one daughter here, and I went to Corpus and went to see the Hooks. Have you all ever gone to see the Hooks, the baseball team they got up there? Well, the deal is, I asked my daughter, I said, boy, they got a fan participation. They really got it going here. They got a big screen and a nice place, and they got a swimming pool for the kids and what all. I said, boy, they got it going. I said, is this all the fans are mostly from here? He said, no, Dad. He said, it's tourism. What we do is they own a business. They own an RV dealership. And they say, what we do is we have a meeting, and they tell us to push anything that's going to cost us. So they got us the tickets to go see them, And I said, and he said, we have meetings and we're supposed to push anything that'll bring tourism and bring extra monies into Corpus. And, I had my daughter there, my 2 daughters from Houston there, my girlfriend and a grandson. And I think we spent about $70, $80 after they gave us the tickets to go in there, and we're hitting each other. After we're hitting each other with those bats and bought the T-shirts, the sweatshirts, and everything. But what this has got to be here, if it's going to work, it's got to be a community and a city effort, to get this going. Mr. Patel has enough faith in this city, and we've already spent a bunch of money on this project. I think we ought to just try to go through it. As far as places to eat and motels, we got a ton of them. I show old cars and I speak to a lot of people from out of state, and they claim this is one of the best places to live in. Cost of living, employment, everything. We got a heck of a medical field here. Thank you for your time. I thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am.
I am Laura Stevens. I'm a former educator in this area. I'm not in Amarillo necessarily. Having attended this meeting and one prior about this particular issue, I think this is a well-planned venue. I think it's something that we need to stand behind. I feel embarrassed that this community has at this point, after so many years of planning, stood back and said, hey, wait a minute, this ballpark is a terrible idea, whenever it's a multiple purpose venue, not just a ballpark. And when we have someone who has already signed a contract to commit $45 million to this committee, and then on the condition that we would have this ballpark or this venue, and then us back out on him, how dare us? I think we need to go ahead with this plan. It's a great plan. It will work. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Corey Ramsey, and I work at Amarillo National Bank. I'm Senior Vice President and Lender. And I've had the opportunity in my career over the last 20 years to travel to many places and try to be a good citizen of Amarillo and try to help bring companies to this town. Most of them, I will tell you, ask the question about downtown. They ask about entertainment value. That's not my biggest concern. What my biggest concern is right now is what kind of message are we sending any other company that may want to come to Amarillo and do business if we back out of deals that we've basically promised to do. I'm more concerned about our reputation risk from a community standpoint, from a city council standpoint, from a city of Amarillo standpoint about that than I am about a ballpark or about a parking garage or a hotel. Now, I believe wholeheartedly that we need all three of those things. Don't get me wrong. But when you look at the underlying issues that we're going to have with going and shaking someone's hand from San Antonio or Dallas or wherever and trying to convince them to come to Amarillo, Texas and do business and relocate 100 people to come work here, they're going to look at us and go, you're crazy. Your city they're not pro-business. They're not trying to help us do that. And I think that's a real problem. I've said this. I told Paul this in a town hall meeting that I went to. I believe this could be the single biggest thing that ever happened to Amarillo in my lifetime if we do it. I also think it could be the single biggest thing to happen in my lifetime if we don't do it. Thank you.
Mr. Herrick.
Hello, I'm Jason Herrick. I'm the president of Pantera Energy Company here in Amarillo. We office and own the historic Paramount Theater downtown. I stand here in support of the event venue and the plan that's been put forth, and I ultimately very much encourage the council to go forward with the plan. We are there on Polk Street, as you know, and we have watched as the plywood has gone up across the street on the old Blackburn's building, and Levine's has been vacated. Watched as Taylor's Furniture Store has moved out. We know the Barfield building has remained vacant. And that is on our most historic street in Amarillo as this has happened. And I worry that we have taken the approach that we can just allow organic growth to happen, but it doesn't. And the examples are here in our town, that it just doesn't work without some sort of investment from the council, from the city, to make ourselves move forward. We need that type of movement forward. And I would also just add, my other major concern is that we as a city cannot begin to manage ourselves in 2-year cycles. We have to be able to have a long-term plan and execute that. These projects are too complicated. They're too big. They're too massive. There's so many moving pieces that we got to see today. We cannot just take those things and throw them out the door. We have to be committed as a city to trying to move ourselves forward, and I certainly hope that the council will support the movement of these projects forward. Thank you.
I knew I shouldn't have followed him. My name is Brian Barton. I'm the president and owner of Canyon Exploration. Canyon's been in downtown for about 30 years, numerous buildings, and obviously I own the Greyhound bus building, which we've done a lot of renovation to. We're very excited about it. We're excited about the movement that everybody here in this line has talked about where we're going to be going in the future of downtown and this whole city. And of course, I have a ton of kids too that want to go there, but I also want to enjoy it. I have an office in Oklahoma City, and we've had one there downtown for 8 years, and it's absolutely amazing what they've done with that downtown and how everything has flourished. And now it's going into Midtown and going everywhere across it. And it's truly just inspirational. And I want y'all just know that I'm very for everything that's going on here, and I hope that y'all take that into consideration and move forward with making our future that much brighter. Thank you.
My name is Steve Pear. I live, work, and eat and hang out downtown a lot. I really don't own any property downtown or anything like that. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I started working at Channel 7 when I was 16 years old. One of the first stories I did was on the Barfield building and how it was going to be these upscale, awesome places to live. And I think that's when I caught the downtown bug, per se. Did numerous stories on the Herring Hotel as well. That was back when I was 16, 18 years old. I turned 34 tomorrow, and nothing has happened downtown. We are so close. It is right there. It's within our grasp. And I love well, what about adding this or doing something different? We need to keep thinking about that. As we continue to grow, there's going to be those opportunities. The plan as is has been presented to investors, our citizens for years as it is. It is so important that we continue with that plan as is and fulfill the promises that we've had while keep looking to the future, keep looking for those new ideas that we can continue to put in downtown that I firmly believe will lead not only to growth in our downtown area, but throughout our entire city as well. And again, like everybody else, just thank you all for taking the time to learn more about this issue today. It's so important to our community, and really do appreciate your time. So thank you.
Hey guys, I'm Lily Gamble. I'm just one of those really cool millennials trying to talk about something she's really passionate about. I'm not a CEO. I don't own any property downtown, but I can say I'm going into my second year at AC. I'm a Presidential Scholars Honors Program person. I am the Student Government Association Executive Board Treasurer. I am also an AC Blue Blazer. And I'm not saying this to sound boastful or proud of myself, but I'm saying I'm very proud of Amarillo and the city, and I'm very invested in it as a citizen. I can't say enough how much I support this project. There's so much that can snowball from it. And I have to say also, and I hope this doesn't come across as harsh, but if there isn't a lot of revitalization with the downtown and Amarillo as a city and a better quality of life, Amarillo will lose me as a potential workforce employee. I plan on going to UT Austin to study marketing, and if Amarillo isn't more exciting or more inviting as a city, I'm not coming back. And I'm not the only one. Most of my peers and friends have left and plan to leave, so I can say for the person who spoke earlier that the millennials are leaving in a mass exodus. And if plans like this don't continue on, they'll continue to leave. So yeah. Thank you for hearing me out.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I'm Chris Jackson. I'm a resident of Amarillo. I don't really have any title besides I'm a 2015 Randall High School student, and I was the Sterling Senior of the Year, and that's pretty much the most I have to contribute right now. And I'm already, I guess, famous for my speaking and speech and debate skills and things of that nature. But anyway, back to what we're here to talk about. I basically want to start with that. When you look at Amarillo as a whole, that the thing that troubles me the most in our little society that we have here is not that the youth's opinion isn't being voiced about downtown development, but what opinion is being voiced. And the overall consensus and culmination of all these things is that, wow, where we live sucks. Like, I want to go into something better. I want to see something more. And this really hurts me because I love Amarillo. Like, if we were our own nation, then I'm a nationalist. And I love everything that we currently have, but I really believe there is something more that we could contribute. And I mean, if you don't want to listen to the whole "we are the world" and kumbaya speech, I was going to present some economical aspects, but really don't want to bore us anymore with any of those. So I just wanted to look at the future of downtown. We have the Excel building that's being built, and they're going to provide some parking. And then we have the WTAMU talks about how they may build a campus, and that's an advancement of education. We can just look at the Amarillo College and the expansion of parking, and how the last time I checked, our local college is the third-ranked local college in the nation, and that's something to be proud about as our community. And as a representation of Amarillo, if we advance these projects, I feel like it's a greater resemblance of who we are as a community and what it is that we can accomplish. And such things such as the project for the Liberty Theater, and also the advancement of the Amarillo Civic Center. And in regards to any questions about how this would affect the rest of Amarillo, we can look towards that. If you want to look at the reconstruction of society and the progression of it on any economical standpoint, you have to start at the core. And I believe with the downtown development, it really is a catalyst for all the things that we would wish to have for Amarillo. But if we were to look at the future of Amarillo without this development, you are, as many of my colleagues and people have previously stated, that you're going to lose the youth. And these are the individuals that we want to pay the taxes, and it is the progression that we want to see in society. And other places can continue to grow, but if this project, which has been talked about since 2010, I believe, doesn't fall through, and it doesn't really attribute anything to us, then who is really willing to invest anything else into Amarillo? Not to say that there isn't anything that could come on better in the future, but what are we losing currently if we don't go with this Catalyst project? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Megan Riddlesberger. I don't have any cool titles either. I'm 21 years old, just graduated from WT in December. I did this at the last city council meeting I came to, but I kind of want to reiterate. You guys hear a lot of negatives. You can look at the Amarillo Globe News comment sections, and it's going to be a lot of scary stuff. I went on earlier and got back off pretty quickly. And so you're seeing a lot of negatives. I feel that you guys are hearing this very vocal, very scary minority, and you're not hearing the positives and the happy stuff until today. Apparently, this line's been pretty good. So I just want to give some positives. I want to explain that I'm going to law school in the next few years, or actually next year, and it's a 3-year stop for me, but then after that, I don't know what I want to do. I would really like to come back, honestly. I want to stay around my parents. They're really cool. I want to have my first kid around my parents so that they can watch it, which would be really cool. But I can't do that if Amarillo doesn't provide anything for me, and right now it doesn't. I feel like it's stagnant. I walk out of my house every day, and I search out of my 10 different things that I normally do and try to decide which one sounds the least boring. And so that's a bad way to live, and I don't want to live that way once I'm finished with my schooling. So I really encourage you guys to support this project. I think it's really important. I think, like they said, it's going to keep the youth around. Mr. Lutz said earlier, it really stuck with me that he has kids that he wants to keep around. A lot of people have echoed that sentiment. Well, speaking from the kids' perspective, we're not going to stay if you don't support something like this, or if you don't actually just support this project. It's already fallen into your lap. It's awesome. It's got us excited enough to come up here and speak in front of a really big, scary crowd. So it's obviously exciting. It's the opportunity that I think that you guys should take. So those of you the couple of council members who seem to kind of maybe want to halt this. You're dragging your feet. You think we need to think more or talk more or look at something else. I just want you to know that you are personally responsible for me leaving. And when Mr. Lutz is crying because his kids are gone, he gets to talk to you guys. The last thing that I want to say is that our council members, you're elected representatives, and I feel that you guys are doing a great job representing that really scary vocal minority that I keep talking about. But who's going to represent us? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Taylor Willis, and I am currently an up-and-coming senior at Tascosa High School, and I'm just here to preach some of my few opinions. So when I first heard about the multi-purpose venue and the whole Catalyst project itself, I thought this was so intriguing, and I thought to myself, finally, Amarillo is doing something to bring together the whole community. And I'm a person who likes to get other people's opinions as well. So I started to discourse with my friends and family who live in Amarillo or other small communities that are a couple miles away from Amarillo and try to get their opinions on this new project. And all I heard was positive feedback because they saw the exact same thought that I was having. This is an opportunity to give Amarillo citizens something to do and something to stick around. But not only this, I want to hit on the major fact that a downtown of any city is practically the heart of it. It's where everything streams from. And currently, our downtown is dwindling. Yes, there is some opportunity there, but if we do not endorse this Catalyst project, down the line, it's just going to deteriorate and deteriorate farther. When we think of other major cities like Seattle, New York City, or Austin, for instance, we think of how great their downtown is, how many opportunities there are to go out and do cool stuff with your friends or family or just to hang out. And so that's my big impactful statement that I want to give to you members today, that this Catalyst project is hopefully just going to be a snowball effect. That yes, we might have a baseball field, an awesome hotel, or possibly more retail. But in a couple of years, 20 or 30, there's going to be new projects, more flourishing. And as me, as an individual of the young community, I'm going to want to come back. I'm not going to possibly want to stay in a big major city in some other part of the country. I'm going to want to come back and spend time with my family and friends in the area that I grew up in. Because it's not only a great place to raise kids, but it can also be a great place to stay and have future generations grow and flourish. So I just want to thank y'all for being here today and hearing everyone else's perspectives, and know that you have the youth to back y'all up, because we want to see Amarillo grow and stay as a wonderful community that we are now. Thank you.
Mr. Feingold.
If you want more young people to stay here, provide more jobs and pay them $9 an hour to start. Now, I grew up in this city, and I probably know it as well or better than any of you. I remember when Plaza One Southeast Corner consisted of a Chinese restaurant, Taylor's Market, and the Domino Lounge. I can go into great detail. The city was vigorous. It had all kinds of activity going on downtown, children, teenagers, adults, and it was kind of grungy. It was nowhere near as nice and needed as it is today. But if you want a vigorous downtown, you need a discussion about why downtown in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s was so vibrant. Now, I don't have time to go into all details here, but I think you ought to realize the following. The ALGC, as it is presently chartered, cannot legally supervise or promote the building of a parking garage or an MPEV. It is chartered as a transportation corporation, 431B, and you can go through the statutes, but it is not legal for a Texas transportation corporation to be promoting or financing something that is not a transportation project. You could have chartered it as a public facilities project. You didn't. By the way, it is not a sensible proposal to take an entire city block and put a parking garage there and take a small portion of another block and make that the hotel. The most rudimentary sense on these things, if you've seen large city hotels, is you take that large piece of ground you've got between 7th and 8th Street and you put that as the hotel. The parking garage should go on a small portion of what is now the parking lot for the Amarillo Globe News Center for the Performing Arts. There are numerous other suggestions which you would hear if you gave the public a chance to do this at length. Thank you.
For clarity's sake, City Attorney Marcus Norris, could you speak to the question that was raised concerning the technical capabilities and capacities of the local government corporation per Texas state statute?
I'd be happy to. It is true that the LGC, the Local Government Corporation statute, is located in the Texas Government Code, the Texas Transportation Code. However, the text of the statute, when you look beyond which code it's in, it says that an LGC may cooperate and perform for a city any task the city may lawfully do. May I say that again? That an LGC may lawfully perform and conduct any task that a city may lawfully do. You don't have to take my word for that. Our bond counsel, selected by Mr. Dean Frigo years ago, we're still using Mr. Bob Dransfield of the Fulbright and Jaworski law firm. Well, it's now Norton Rose. Has looked at it and we're right on this. I'm sorry, the citizen has misunderstood the law. You don't have to take my word. You don't have to take the word of Fulbright and Jaworski. You can take a law firm in Dallas, as Mr. Brown alluded to, who has been assisting us with the LGC business, and we are up to snuff, and what we're doing is legal.
I publicly challenge you to debate this for at least 1 hour in any session of the commission. The statutes involved in Section 431 are not exclusively to one section. There is a whole series of them, and one of them bears very directly on this question.
And if you don't want to take the word of a bunch of lawyers, go look at how other cities have done it. They use LGCs to do their civic projects.
I'm sure we could sell a lot of tickets to that debate, to debate the nuances of the Texas Transportation Code. Might be able to fund a parking space or something. Yes, sir.
My name is my name is Joe Lovell. I'm an attorney. I'm not here to debate the transportation code. I'm an attorney, been practicing in Amarillo since I became licensed to practice in 1987 and have officed downtown since that time. Acknowledging that there is suspicion out there, perhaps justified suspicion, I do believe I need to tell you that I'm not here on behalf of any client. I'm not here on behalf of any investor. I'm here on behalf of myself. Perhaps to some degree, my law partners. We own our office space in the Eagle Center building at 8th and Tyler. We've put a lot of money into that, and we're proud of it. We're proud of downtown Amarillo. Having said that, I appreciate the opportunity the council has given us all to be here today to be reminded of all the many years of work that has gone into where we are today. We've got strategic plan passed in 2008, design standards passed, various developers, people like myself who've spent money in reliance upon those plans, who've invested and implemented those plans. We've got the August 2011 catalyst plans, the Coca-Cola transaction. Tiers has been created and made commitments. Tiger funds are in play. We've got, hopefully, WTAMU, who is going to make an even bigger commitment to downtown Amarillo. And think about, for a moment, Excel and Newcrest and what they have done and what they have put in and the reliance they have on where we've gotten to today. So, Mr. Nair, you asked a good question, which was essentially how much money has the city got in, I guess, sunk costs in this thing, so that you could go out and talk to the voters. In essence, I interpret that to mean you can say, what would it cost for us to back out? What would it cost the city to back out? But I think that's not the only cost. What of the cost of the others who have invested in the city? What does it cost them for you to back out? And perhaps even more importantly, I believe that you're now at a threshold. We've heard some people say there's no rush. I don't know. When I hear that we're asking for extensions to contracts, that sounds like we're in a rush to me. We're at a threshold, and I believe what you're faced with is a test. It's a test not just of this particular transaction. It's a test of the city of Amarillo. It's a test of what is the vision of the city of Amarillo. It's a test of our foresight. It's a test of our determination. It's a test of our reliability. In fact, it's a test, I believe, of our character as a city. What is our character as a city? Can we be trusted? Can we be relied upon? And what is the cost of that? If you back out, what is the cost to the city today and forevermore of that loss of trust, of that loss of reliability? So I would ask the Commission to think very carefully about that and to help us move forward on this plan and to help us move forward on this plan right away. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's my name's Dr. Gary Jennings, and I just have one question. Is it time for happy hour?
I think it's past.
Okay. For full disclosure, my wife Sally and I own the Firestone building downtown, and it's just sitting there empty. We've got plans to try to get it revitalized. I've got deep roots here. My first job was throwing the Amarillo Daily News back in the day, as they say, a long time ago. And I've got actually went to high school with Sam Lovelady and Council Member Randy Burkett. And back in the day, my first kiss.
You might not want to go too far there in terms of stories. You might.
My first kiss was at the Paramount Theater.
Uh-oh.
And Council Member Burkett and I saw Easy Rider. I don't know if anybody remembers that movie. My full-time job is practicing dentistry. My part-time job is this passion for downtown. And I want to thank the City Council for listening today, and Mr. Mayor. And I want to thank Mr. Brown for all the work he's done with LGC through the years. That was a big job. A lot of, like you say, a lot of moving parts. And actually, I've got another event that can be played out in the new event center. As the founder of the Amarillo Senior Softball Club, we might like to have our playoffs there at the end of the year. Something else here. Mr. Nair was asking about why this was taking so long. All these years and all these meetings. Well, I was talking to my ex-neighbor, good friend, mentor, Glenn Parkey. Sally and I were talking about buying the Firestone. And all this time was going by, nothing was happening, and I was like, Glenn, this is like molasses. He's like, Gary, just be patient. I said, well, is there anything you can reveal to me? He said, I'll tell you. Us on LGC, we are negotiating and doing everything we can to protect the best interest of the city. And that's a fact.
Did I hear the bell? The electrocution happens next. I just want to warn you.
Is that the bell? Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Council, Mayor, my name is Austin Sharp, and I'm with the Mays Investment Company. We're a 4-generation family business. We've had offices in downtown since the early 1950s. So downtown is near and dear to our hearts, as is this city. We're developing the Lofts on 10th, a 10,000 square foot mixed-use development. What I want to talk about is the demand that we have seen for that project that is directly related to the hotel, the MPEV, and the parking garage. In reality, I'd like to thank you guys for a great plan. You've saved me a ton of money in leasing commissions to Gott Wittenberg. Every tenant that we have talked to and the waiting list of tenants that we have for the market rate housing element has been excited about this project. We've had tenants come to us, even one of them, Cut Salon and Blowout Bar, who is opening in 2 weeks, came to us 2 years ago with a vision for downtown. He said, I want to be part of this. I want to stake my claim downtown. I'm excited about it. They have a passion for downtown. So there's people in this city that know that downtown is the heartbeat of any city. And we're certainly excited about as well. The other thing that I want to speak to is our promises that we have made as a city. When we go to real estate conventions, the topic that we have to discuss with retailers, larger and smaller, is they want to know what we're doing as a city to invest in ourselves. What are we doing today to create opportunities for our future generations, for my kids? If we vote this down with the promises that we made to Newcrest and to Mr. Patel, we're sending a bad message to the larger investment community. And I don't think that's something that we want to do. In Amarillo, we do what we say we're going to do. We're a value-oriented business community. So I think that this is a great project. We learned yesterday, I spoke to the director of Hotel and Conventions in Abilene, and those 312 conventions netted them $38 million last year. That's a lot of tax revenue. I think you guys could do a lot of things with that, and it would also help to keep the property taxes low for the citizens of Amarillo. This project is a win-win, and we hope to see it happen. Thank you.
Okay, before you speak, I think we're going to need to run this kind of like the checkout line of the grocery store, okay? When you're concluded, whoever's standing in line, we're going to listen to, okay? But whoever the last person is in line at the conclusion of your remarks will be the last person to speak. So if you want to speak, get in line now, okay? I want everyone to have a chance, but we don't want this to last forever. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Elaine Hayes. I'm co-owner of Hayes & Hayes Financial Services here in Amarillo. And I want to thank you guys so much for this forum today. It's been very informative, and I'm very thankful for all the hours that have spent on working on this project. I had a question on the MPEV. I think you mentioned earlier that a couple of keys that were required. One is finding a qualified operator, and two was signing a baseball team. I'm curious if those fell through, what the backup plans might be if there were other projects that were disqualified. Obviously, this one ended up at the top of the list of a driver for traffic downtown, but I'm curious as to Plan B.
Mr. Brown?
First, we want Plan A to work. do have a proposal on the table. We have not really started dealing with that. But when I said earlier it's too early, it's too early to be for it if it can't be done as projected. I think it can be done. I think a lot of people here think it can be done. But if it can't, I'm going to be the first one to say this will not work. And if the day comes that we don't have a baseball team, we're not going to build a baseball stadium. Okay, thank you.
Yes, my
Yes,
name's
sir.
Eloy Ross. I live on 1604 South Harrison. I'm not from Amarillo. Got here in 1987. I was asked by my company and need some technicians out there. I'm not a banker. I'm just a lonely electronics technician. I work on MRIs and X-rays and all that stuff. I'm retired now. I was going to stay here a couple of years and move on. I'm also a retired Navy man, but I've been here ever since. Met a lot of friends here. I like to see Amarillo grow. But, you know, Oklahoma, for example, the city they built out, it's called Brick City. It has a lot of great things out there. But, you know, everything that's out there was voted by the people. We wouldn't be in this predicament if we hadn't voted on these large projects. Mr. Burkett, Mr. Nair, Mr. Emerson, I'm glad you're there. I want you to take your time and figure out what's going on here and do something good for our city. This country is not doing too good. We can't afford to be spending so much money. Taxes is going up, and now that I'm retired, I didn't care about money. Now I do when it hits your pocketbook. The drainage fee taxes, for example, that's triple taxation. That's all I got to say. Take over.
Thank you, Eloy. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Laura Street. I have been in Amarillo for 33 years. My husband and I have a business, Street Toyota, Scion, Volkswagen. We don't work downtown. We don't live downtown. But I truly believe that Amarillo's downtown is everybody's downtown in our city, because what we're talking about in these projects is going to improve not only Amarillo, but I think the panhandle of Texas. We have been 20 years in this conversation, and we can't think of any better conversation to have than growth and progress. And working on the Globe News Center for the Performing Arts was one of the most fun projects I was ever involved in. But with that, I learned what it meant to dream and what it meant to not know exactly where you were going day by day, but to know that in the end you would have something very special. And I think some of this is the faith that we're going to have something very special. At one time, the Amarillo Globe newspaper said about me, "She is a quiet voice that speaks volumes, and I want you to hear my volumes." I really want this to go forward, not just for me, not just for my family, but for the entire panhandle of Texas. And I am so disappointed in any conversation that might take us in any different direction than that. And I thank you so much for the time today and what you've been through to hear everyone. But I want you to hear all the positives that have come through this. Thank you.
Council members, I'm Roger Cox. I'm a little bit of a different animal, I think, than what I've seen today. I think I'm pretty unusual. I voluntarily moved to Amarillo as a 20-something. I don't know how many other people in this room can say that, but I think I'm a relatively rare animal, and I think that's a really cautionary tale for our city, for our demographics, and where the city could potentially be headed as we are at this turning point right now. I've always believed, I travel a lot in my work. I've officed in downtown Amarillo for about 28 years, and I travel a lot too, and I've learned my observation has been that great cities have great public facilities, period. Great cities have great public facilities. It may be a ballpark, a theater, an arena, but places, great facilities where people can gather. And when people gather, communities come together, and all kinds of economic activity flourishes as a result, especially when not only the community people come together, but visitors, business people, and so forth. In that regard, I got really fascinated with that, and I did a lot of studying when my kids were younger, and I looked into youth recreational facilities and that sort of thing, which Amarillo was really lacking 10 and 20 years ago, and we're still behind on today. I wrote a couple of editorials. I remember guest editorials for the newspaper. One was in 2004. I have a copy of it with me. And it says, the newspaper title was, Other Cities Have Downtown Hotels, So Can Amarillo. And that was published in May of 2004. About a year later, in fact, next week it will be 10 years, I wrote a similar column about a baseball stadium. It was a little bit of a negative slant toward what was then the Dilla Villa, but also the need and the viability of a potential downtown baseball stadium. That was 10 years ago. When I wrote that piece, I had hair like Mr. Nair. Look at me today. My fear, I guess, to look at it a little bit negatively is my concern, the dark side of all this, is that when projects like this and years of work come together only to be tabled or set aside or get kicked down the road like a can, you look up and people like Mr. Nair have hair like mine. 10 years go by, your kids get raised, they get educated, they moved off, you get old, life goes by, and I have a grave fear that if this gets tabled or just shoved aside, that we'll be having the same conversation, I think, as Ms. Street said. We've been having the conversation for 10 or 20 years. We're here. Think about the game. Do you remember the game Chutes and Ladders as a kid? You climb the ladder, you roll the dice, and you can move so many spaces. You catch a ladder, you can climb up. But you hit the wrong space and you get the chute and you slide all the way back down to the beginning. We're at risk of hitting that space where the chute is, and we're going all the way back to the beginning, and I do not believe this community can afford that. We've got a great community and a great future, but the time is now for bold, decisive action. Thank you.
Sorry, a little taller than everybody else that's come up here before. My name is Andrew Mitchell. I'm involved with a third-generation company, local company here within Amarillo. I do know many of you on the board, the commissioners, some of you as well. I've grown up with some of your sons as well. I've been involved in many different athletic events and so forth. I love this community. Been born and raised here. Been here my whole life. Don't plan on going anywhere. And have we seen a change in Amarillo lately? And the answer to that is no. And when all this started to come up, all the talk and everything that was going on was a huge driver. And so many people were so excited about the opportunity for this to come aboard. And the one thing that I get to say is I'm going to be extremely blessed in about a month. I get to have my third child. And I want those 3 children to stay here. I want them to have a life, a fun and enjoyable community that they get to live in. Now, would I love for one of them to be part of the 4th generation? Absolutely. But then again, I also want them to enjoy life in general. There's more than just working and doing else, but enjoying the life and your family. And having these events and the different organizations that are coming into our downtown to develop what's there and the need that we have for our community. I mean, these young adults that came in today, I wish I could have gotten up in high school and read off a diploma, the backing that they had. Each one of them cares about this community. And I think that's what I'm here to back on behalf of what Mr. Lutz said, is that this is for the kids. I can't tell you the exact number of children that are or young adults that are going through our independent school district right now, and I'm sure someone can rip it off real quick, but you're truthfully making that decision for those individuals. Those are the individuals that are going to prosper from your decisions that each one of you made. And also, I want to thank you for your time. Time is a commodity that you're never going to get back, and you have given so much of your time here today. And I want to thank you for that, and thank you for learning about everything else that so many commissioners and mayors before have gone through to put this all together. Thank you all very much.
Yes, sir.
I'm Jimmy Presley Hammonds. I live at 1514 South Pierce. Downtown was my playground when I was a child. You know, from age 6 to age 10, lived down here on North Polk. And I can remember them old buildings and everything. There's crowds in there, so there's crowds going both directions. I don't think it'll ever happen again. I don't care what you build down here. I don't think it'll ever happen. But, you know, whether I'm against it or for it or whatever, you know, I think that you should leave it up to the people of Amarillo to vote on, because we all pay taxes here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Katie Duran. I've lived in Amarillo, Texas, most all of my life except for a short stint when I lived in Canada for a little while. And I'm really terrified of public speaking, so I'm going to read my
You're
little
doing
thing
great.
Much to my mother's dismay, a few years ago, my sister moved to Dallas, and her reasoning was because there aren't jobs in Amarillo to pay her sort of lifestyle, and also that there just isn't anything to do. She continually asks me to move to Dallas, and I constantly tell her that eventually something cool is going to happen in Amarillo, and I really hope to be there when it happens to help shape it. I've worked in the downtown area for about 10 years now. I've lived in Oliver Eccles. I live now about 10 minutes from downtown Amarillo. I spend a lot of time here. I'm really excited about the downtown projects and the growth that it's going to give the city of Amarillo as a whole. And I just think that our city motto is open spaces and endless opportunities, and I'd love to see us take some of these opportunities that we're boasting instead of sitting back and worrying about the consequences. And I'd also like to say thank you to Mr. Nair and Mr. Dimerson and Mr. Burkett for breathing some new life into the city leadership, and I hope to see more life breathed into the city leadership.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes.
Another tall person. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Thank you. Mayor, City Commission, I really appreciate the opportunity to talk in front of y'all today. I think this is very important for us to be able to throw out questions, hear from y'all. I know that a lot of people have been frustrated here in Amarillo because our voices haven't been heard for so long. I know I was so much that I ran for City Commission against Dr. Eads, wherever he may have just gone.
He's delivering. No, he's not delivering a baby. He's back there.
Well, that's good. I didn't win. You can probably tell I'd be up there and he'd be out here. But for years, there was a group of us that went in front of the City Commission, asking questions, trying to get answers. Whenever they were trying to choose a master developer, we would go in front of them and talk about what was going on. I myself taught school for decades, 9th through 12th, and 3rd grade and 5th grade. I taught science, biology, physics, several other sciences. So I look at things logically. I deduce from that point of view. I had a big problem that the City Commission would not listen to, and I think this is one thing that a lot of citizens are still dealing with, and that's why they want some answers. During that time, under our past mayor, they were trying to come up with a master developer, and they came up with Wallace Bajali. And I and several others would go week after week in front of the City Commission, and I would show them lists of bankruptcies and foreclosures and lawsuits against David Wallace. And I didn't know if they're true, not true, but I at least wanted them to look into it further. The more I investigated and what came out later, I think proves that there were a lot of problems there with David Wallace. I was just blackballed in the way of they would smile, thank me, and then I'd go on my way. And I just have a lot of problems with the logical deduction that they would have made. I try to picture it in my mind where they would have a list of master developers, because I'm sure there are a lot in the United States that are legitimate, that carry their business practices well, against one that had all these bankruptcies and lawsuits and foreclosures, and they go, let's take the one with the bankruptcies. That just makes no sense to me. And we brought it to their attention over and over and over. And they just would not listen. And come to find out, we lost a lot of money over that. Horrendous mistake. Also, the business dealings sometimes are a problem. I remember whenever we were going to the city commission meeting, and the city commission at that time said that we would not have any drive-up windows because they was sort of lower class. No drive-up windows downtown. That was it.
Sir.
And then Toot and Totem decided to have a drive-up window, and they passed it. And that just doesn't seem right after they went through 2 committees to make sure it passed.
Okay, sir, I'm going to have to be the bad guy. Your time's up. Thank you
very much.
Thank you so much for your comment.
Sir, I want you to know you got a commission that'll listen now, okay?
Thank you. My name is William Summerford, 6103 Blue Sage Circle. Been in Amarillo over 15 years. Thank you for the opportunity today for mayor, commissioners, and the LGC. What we're asking here, folks, is that the citizens approve $33.5 million of debt. When the government grows, the private economy shrinks. It's just pure and simple. If we want venues in the MPEV that'll bring people in all the time, let's put in something like an outlet mall. People will stream in there. You don't have to worry about the weather. You don't have to worry about city operations. I would ask that you please consider changing that from an MPEV to an outlet mall, bringing people all over from all over the Texas Panhandle, from Colorado, from Oklahoma, from New Mexico, and that would bring people to the hotel, and it would drive business downtown and let business rather than government improve the aspects of the city of Amarillo. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill.
Cindy Bulla, 1400 Reagan Court here in Amarillo. I'd like to address the issue of the public vote. I could echo the chorus of people who said they are for the project, and I certainly am enthusiastically for moving forward with the project. The vote, however, and this is kind of treacherous ground because it's hard to ever argue that it's not the right thing to go to the citizens and ask their opinion. But I'd like for you all to think about the fact that we've sat here all day. Some of us, many of us, I know certainly you have, I know I have spent months trying to understand the nuances of this project. It is not an easy project to understand. The numbers are not easy to follow. The trail of who's involved and who isn't is not easy to follow. Even the city's structure and how it's been addressed is not easy to follow. To ask the average citizen in Amarillo, not that they're not fully capable of learning it and understanding it, but to expect that the majority of the electorate in Amarillo has the time to get up to speed and make a good, intelligent decision for their future on this is asking too much. And you were all elected. You were all elected to lead and to make the hard decisions. Now, if you make a decision that isn't consistent with what some of your constituents think, you're probably going to get barbecued because the nature of the beast these days is that there's a lot of the civility is gone. But that's what you're elected to do. You're politicians. We need you to make the decision. You know what I want? If you go the other way, I have to live with that. And as an advocate of Amarillo, I will. I'll support it and I will live with it. Obviously, I'm hoping that you approve it. But what I want most of all is for you to make the decision. You alone are equipped to do it. You have the information you need now. I wish this had occurred a year ago and maybe we wouldn't even be having this conversation. I love the transparency. I love getting everything out in the open. I love the attempt to make people understand. But the electorate wasn't here today. The few of us that are passionate, and apparently most of us that are passionate about about the project going forward, we're here. We need you guys to make those hard decisions and answer to your constituents for the decisions that you make. I, for one, will support you. I'll be disappointed if it doesn't go, but I'm a proponent of Amarillo. I sell Amarillo every day. I'll sell it with or without the downtown venue. I hope and pray it's there because it'll be a lot easier to sell. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Michael Graham, 5825 Andover Drive. I am a recent convert, not so recent, but fairly recent convert to the idea of downtown redevelopment. And it all came about because of the ARC. I voted against the ARC, and I bragged about it on Facebook. I was so proud of myself. I didn't like the fact that my taxes were going to go up. I didn't like where it was going to be at. I thought it was a stupid idea. I went into Bagel Place. A friend of mine from junior high, family owns that. I was with my kids. She sat down. She goes, "Do you know what the ARC would have done for our business?" And I said, "You're what, 5-7 miles away from where it would be located at?" She goes, "It was not for the area that it was going into. It was for the entire city. The entire city would have been filled up during tournaments with hotels, not just the ones around the stadium, all up and down I-40, all up and down I-27. Nice places, cheap places." I started looking at that. Clovis last weekend just had a softball tournament with 109 teams, of which 104 of them came from out of the area. Okay? Let's take it 9 people for 100 teams, 900 people. 30% of them, let's say 30% of them bring in a family of 3. That is a massive number of people. And if you have a convention that brings 1,000 people from outside the area coming in, it does not stop at the Embassy Suites or the Courtyard. It spreads all the way up and down I-40, and it spurs economic activity. Having a baseball stadium brings people from all over the entire area, not just Amarillo. The baseball stadium, regardless of what you say, is it for the people of Amarillo? Absolutely. Is it an economic driver for the Panhandle? Absolutely. People from all over would come to participate in that type of event. It does not stop here. It does not stay in downtown Amarillo. It spreads throughout the entire community. And it is your job to respect the fact that hundreds, not tens, hundreds of public forum meetings have occurred over the last 10 years in regards to this project. And over that time, it was voted on and brought up and made part of elections. And it still went forward. Regardless of whether or not you believe Joe Bob might benefit from it, it's time to quit spitting into the wind and make sure that you do the right thing for this city. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Judge Poff.
Brian Poff, 2409 Hughes, Amarillo, Texas. Thank you, Gary, for saving the best for last. That being you, Brown. You made as good a summation as you did in my court years ago. And what you did is, you told us we don't have to do anything today. The man who just left, Mr. Graham, who I like, we've become friends, is convinced the world's going to end today because there are 3 votes to kill the ballpark. That's not going to happen. We all know that. But you know what you did for me, Richard? You countered the mayor's argument, which he made against me at one of his forums a week ago Tuesday when I said we should have a vote, and we all know I'm for a vote. Everybody around here knows that. Also, most of you know I'm for the ballpark. We talked back in the fall, and I thought I could make a bid for a ballpark, but I thought I had a team. I don't have a team. But that still doesn't mean you don't have a good plan. Plan's a good plan, but it needs the support of the people. And unlike the mayor's proposal that Mr. Patel's going to go away tomorrow, he's not going anywhere. He's asking for 90 days. Am I correct, Richard? Isn't that what I heard you say? I'm sorry. I thought I heard you say that. Okay.
That's all his email says is 90 days.
Okay. But anyway, time's not of the essence, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Patel's not going away. The fact we now have Joe Bob and roads involved really makes me feel good because those guys know how to make money. They do not put money in bad projects, folks. And if, in fact, they're in the deal, even if Patel leaves, somebody else will be here. We have 90 days. How long? I can't ask anybody any questions, right? I will assume we can have an election in 90 days. Maybe I am incorrect. Well, he says I'm not. But
Marcus, it would have to go on the November ballot.
when?
The November
Okay,
ballot.
that's fine. That's 120 days. That would be what my proposal would be. That gives the council, the new council, time to work on it. And it also puts a timeline. You can't hang Mr. Patel out forever. We all know that. You do owe him an answer. But I think you ought to get together and say, look, let's put this to the people. If it's the plan you got now, great, I'll vote for it. If you come up with a better one, I'll vote for that one too. But at least give the people a right to vote. If they said anything, folks, in the last election, that's what they said. They would like to be heard on the ballpark. Or the spending of the $33 million. That's discretionary spending. Not a governmental function, but proprietary function. It's discretionary. We voted on selling the hospital. Some of y'all weren't here, but we did. I'm out of time. We voted also on the state. We vote on things. It's not un-American. It's sort of ingrained in our nature. Give the people a right to vote, settle it, and then let's go on and do something else and build a city and make everything great. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Next up. So maybe I shouldn't say next up.
I know that's a hard one to follow. I'm definitely well aware of that. David Cossey, I'm actually probably one of the few that's from out of town. I moved to Canyon, Texas after a long, long discussion to move to Amarillo. I wanted to live in Amarillo. I couldn't deal with the crime. I couldn't deal with the lack of transparency. I couldn't deal with tremendous amounts of things. My only call to fame is a legislative researcher. That's all I do. I deal with facts. I deal with economics. I deal with what actually happens. I don't deal with the hopes and dreams and the PowerPoints and let's say that we're going to make $50 million doing this because we've seen it possibly happen in one town. It's what actually happens. And what I wanted to draw attention to, Abilene was referenced, 18 times today. Their property tax rate is 68 cents. Ours is 39 cents. To me, I don't want to try to be like Abilene. I like our 39-cent tax rate in Amarillo. I also noticed that they have 4 four-year universities in Abilene. Amarillo has 0. I would say that there's a lot of support things that need to go into place to make success for any project of Amarillo. But my biggest concern comes back to history. Somebody brought it up, and it was something that I couldn't even foresee. From the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, Amarillo was a vibrant community. Then what happened? The power players today that say this project must go forward or nothing ever will happen are the reasons that nothing has happened for 30 years. So my concern is that why now, or as Nair asked earlier, and maybe it was a question that he wished he could take back based on what he actually asked, but when tax money comes into play, I think the taxpayers have a right to know who's benefiting. So when it comes to who's receiving these investments, okay, yeah, it's a private business. He's well within his right to keep that hidden from the public. That's business. I don't ask Randy how he makes his money on a billboard. But if I give Randy $100,000 in taxpayer money and he has private investors that are going to benefit from that tax money, I don't see that there's any issue that I know who's benefiting from my investment as a taxpayer. And I think that's the biggest concern moving forward. The last thing I was going to say is somebody else said that, we don't have time to put this to a ballot. We should, let them make the decision. I think this last election has proven that the voters have made that decision to reevaluate what's happening. They didn't keep 2 people that would have not even had this meeting had they been reelected. There wouldn't have been a need. There was no frustration. There was no concern had they been reelected. But since they weren't, we have it, and I think that the voters have spoken.
Hello. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lupe. I have always worked. I'm a baby boomer, and I've been working since I was 9 when we worked in the cotton field. So when we worked, we had to save our money to go out anywhere. This needs to be done, not for me, but for the young generation. That lives in town, that wants to come in town. We have to have our children, our young adults, they need to get out of the house, get out of those phones, get out of those cell phones. They need to go to a ball game, to a movie. Why Amarillo by morning? Why not Amarillo by night? When you go to a movie, when you go to a ball game, when you're done with the ball game, you don't have to go home. Go visit with your friends, your families. Maybe the older ones like me, maybe they do want to go home. But the young ones, they want to go somewhere else besides, home. This has to be done, not for us, for the ones after us. So please let it happen. You have to work for what you want. The ball game, the movies, the dinner, it's not always going to be filled. You have to save your money to go. For us to go somewhere, we have to save. We have to plan. We can't say we're just going to go, because I am a working mother that's been working all my life. My parents have always worked, and I try to set that on my children as well. And I'm sorry, I'm nervous. But anyway, Amarillo needs to be at night as well, not just morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Regina Ladd. I'm a realtor at Coldwell Banker, and I've lived in Amarillo since I was 2 when my dad got out of the Army, and my husband was born here, so we've been here a while. Our playground was downtown when we were younger. We rode on the hoods of cars down Polk Street and met all of our friends out there, like most of y'all probably have done. And it was so fun, and I wished all this plan and project had happened 30 years ago when I was in my 30s, so that I could already enjoy it. But now, my kids get to, if it comes to be, which I really believe it will. I feel like it's like a seed. This plan is like a seed, and when you plant it, the people and everything that goes along with it will make it grow, as long as it's here. I live out by BSA, so when my husband and I are trying to think of somewhere to go different, we go, oh, what's downtown? What's on 6th Street? What's downtown? What's different than I-40, the franchises? And so we think, okay, there's this, this, and this, and we start naming things. Okay, well, we might do that. But that's our first thought every time. And that's what I would like it to be again. Even when we were younger, the picture shows were down here. Everything was down here. So, and I do really, I'm so for the retail business with the lofts and the hotel and all the restaurants and everything. And I really I'm a booster for baseball. My husband was a ball boy for the Gold Sox, and most of those players played for the Yankees and different players. And my son played for the Dillas. And I would love for a ballpark to be downtown, because I just think, if we create a beautiful new place for it, I think we will get a team. I think, and we forget that Nolan Ryan's daughter lives here. Hey, who could help us? And my husband has already said, I will be in the middle of this. If we ever get a ballpark to get a ball team, he's coached for many, many, many years, still coaching my grandsons. And so he would love to be in the middle of that. So, and I agree, he will too, because he can do it. I have my notes and I can't even read it. Anyway, I'm all for the plan, and I hope y'all agree to it, and I hope you see our interest in that, and I thank you all for letting us come today and ask our questions. And I believe if we build it, I believe they will come.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Amy Taylor Restine. I'm a citizen of Amarillo, and I've lived here my whole life.
You know, something that I want to pass on to my children, which you've heard tonight. My little girl's pretty vocal, like me. And I want to pass on taxation with representation. I want to pass on the right to vote. I want to pass on the right to pay on your own debts and pay on your own dreams, not to pay on other people's. I want to pass on just real capitalism, not public-private, but where private people are able to build their dreams on their own money. And that's what I want to pass on. And I want my children to go to the place that is the freest, that is the most American. And private property rights and freedom are inseparable. That's what George Washington said. We need to protect our citizenry. I want my children's rights to be protected. I don't want them to be put into debt. I would love to see this go on to a vote. I believe that it's the only right thing to do because it's our money. We should have a say about it. What steps will our new commission take to protect our property rights? What steps can Amarillo citizens take to restore our representative form of government and to dissolve non-elected boards who make all of our decisions? Let us vote. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Andrew Hall, and I just moved to town. I'm born and raised here, left for school, left to college, lived in Dallas for 10 years. I moved back to town about a year and a half ago. You know, I have a newly wife, I have a son on the way, and Amarillo to me is a pride. I love Amarillo. And that's what I told my wife. She's from Atlanta, Georgia. She has no idea where Amarillo was when we met. I mean, she didn't know what part of the state it was in. But I convinced her it was a great place to grow up, raise a family, and to really, it's where you build character is here in the Panhandle. We're a special, special breed of people. And to not do this project is very, very, it takes my pride away of why I brought my wife here, why I'm raising my child here. Because, I mean, I found out that I'm a millennium. Well, it's exactly what I want to do. I work downtown. I want to eat downtown. I want to play downtown. And without this project, you know, maybe there's something different. We can all talk it out. But without this project, I'm not going to want to do that. And frankly, I might not want to be down here anymore. I might want to go back to Dallas, where I can go to concerts. I can go eat at restaurants. I can do all these fun things that gives me pride to where I live. And without this, I'm losing my pride. And that's very sad for me to think that I brought my family here to be here and that we might not want to be here anymore because we can't come together as a community and make these decisions. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, I'm Jesse Frimmer, 5723 South Milam. I have been here since I was 27 years of age. I came here because of Pantech's plant. I received a job from Grapevine, Texas, and going to a college down at Arlington. I came here thinking that this was a horrible place to come to because I watched the weathermen in the Fort Worth, Dallas area. I got here and found out we have 4 great seasons. I loved it. I found out that I fell in love with this area, and I've been here for 38 years. I enjoy this country and what it represents, Amarillo. The thing I don't enjoy is someone telling me I don't have a voice in discussing an issue. I have sat here since 9:30 listening to the proposals, and I didn't know about this because I'm too involved with my life out on the south side of Amarillo. I have no real interest in downtown Amarillo as far as its development. I think if I had property down here, I'd want it to be developed. I develop my property where I live, and I believe in the Constitution of the United States, that if I purchase property, it's my responsibility to maintain it, take care of it. But it's not for the government to come in here and take care of my property. I honor these guys that are investors and want to develop something, but they're investing it on tiers projects. They're investing it on utility projects that are provided by our city. Our city is providing input, provided support, but now they're asking us to involve in the process of the hot tax, which is fine. I mean, you know, that's what it's for. But at the same time, it's taken away from other things that we already invested in. I feel very passionate with these other folks that love this downtown Amarillo. I ride my bicycle. I ride it up and down the streets. I enjoy this city. But at the same time, it takes me 15 minutes to 20 minutes to get anywhere in Amarillo. I love that. I do not like Dallas. I do not like Fort Worth. I don't care for Grapevine. Those are the areas where I came from. I love the openness of Panhandle. And I would hope that would be the effort that you do as commissioners in deciding what do we want. Do we want to look like Fort Worth, Dallas, Austin, or do we want to look like this widespread, wide open area where we can go anywhere in 15 minutes and enjoy and have a good life, if that's the kind of life we want? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
My name is David Prescott. I'm the president of Talon LPE, an environmental consulting, engineering, and construction firm here in Amarillo. I chose Amarillo in 1997 to start my business. We're in 4 states, 6 cities, and we continually have a loss of great talent in Amarillo in the sciences. They want to go to Dallas. They want to go to Denver. And we asked them, is it something that we did? Is it something that Talon did? Is it something that we can do better? And it's just they want more than what we have right now to offer. My family's been in Amarillo since the 40s doing business. Those businesses were very successful. They chose Amarillo because of the great employees, the great culture, the place to raise your family. That was 4 generations ago. I have 2 boys, 16 and 13, and we travel frequently. They love Colorado. And if we don't do something, whatever that is, to make Amarillo more viable for the millennials and make a change that makes Amarillo attractive to that population, that generation, then I don't know if Talon LPE will be here in the 5th generation. And that's $6 million a year in payroll. And, you know, a lot of people don't realize the technical and science background that this company brings to Amarillo. And I just hope that you're wise. I think that, as someone else said earlier, that we are at a fork in the road, and let's not slide back down that chute in the game that we start back over 20 years ago. And I just hope you guys are wise on those decisions. Thank you.
And again, some of you are sneaking in line after that, but go. You're, gentlemen, that you just stepped up, you're the last one this evening, okay? Yes,
My
sir.
name is
Next.
My name is Deepak Patel. Great city, great country. I came in this country 1990, 28 May in Amarillo, Texas. That time I had only $20 in my pockets. In this city, I built 6 hotels and 2 under construction and 2 under pipelines. First, wrong way they start to downtown. I never against any development downtown, any hotels downtown. But when they start this project, that time, wrong way they start, $120 million package. We afraid. We small business people. First, my small business loan, Econo Lodge, with 1998. Why this big package and afraid to local small business people? Reality. Right now, I build 127 room Hampton Inn Suites, 120 rooms Holiday Inn, plus over 25,000 square feet banquet facility between my 2 hotels and Big Texan, 6.5 acre development. City never ask us any benefit. First, city want to put downtown development. They want to invite local people, local hoteliers, and not free land. Buy land. We buy everywhere land. Why we no buy land in the downtown? There is that time no any vacant lot. I tried too many times. There is no vacant lot to build a hotel. City never ask us. Yes, let's go. You want to build a hotel? We provide the land. Never ask us. Wrong way to start. We lose balance, Balaji, over $1 million. What we got? Nothing. Simple thing. You want to start business with the local people, local small business people. So give them chance. Give them chance. Now I built $22 million project, 247 rooms. How come 45 rooms, downtown hotel, only 225 rooms? Plus, I have to build my parking lots, concrete parking lots, landscaping, no any other benefit. Now, downtown hotel, what's going on? Downtown hotel, they build, okay. You invite people, let's go, invite open invitation. We want to sell this land, bid the price, sell the land, no any benefits. People ready for it. Today's date, New Christ Image want to back out. I am ready for open bids to sell the land. Make money. Why you give the incentive to business people? Why you discrimination to other people? Simply think, develop the town right way. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patel. Yes, sir. You win the prize for being the last speaker. Congratulations.
Well, my name is Albert Quinto, and I hope we ain't paying you guys overtime. But anyway, what I want to say is that I'd like to thank the City Council here for putting on a great, putting all the parts and pieces together and explaining how everything is coming down and what it's going to take. And now you all have got the decision of going ahead with this. And the biggest problem that I've seen is that the people were really upset that they didn't get a chance to do a vote on it. And in that part, I don't know what we can do about it now. And like Judge Poff said, you know, he's for it. I would be for it. And I think, you know, if it's going to benefit, it, like some of the people said, it's going to benefit the whole city of Amarillo, not just downtown Amarillo. Because like the man said about the Ark, what it would have benefited. And this is what we're looking for. And so now, like I say, you know, this decision's up to you guys. And congratulations on those who are newly elected officials and the incumbents that won. I think you got a lot of work to do. But thank you all, and good, almost good night.
Thank you. And I'll sit down by just simply saying I want to thank you and congratulate everyone for being so gracious, for being so respectful, and for being so courteous. My mama would have been proud of all of us today. Thank you. Mr. Mayor, Mr. President, it's back to your meetings.
We're adjourned for our meeting.
There being no further meeting business for the LGC, we're done too. Thank you.